Hello, everyone. Hi. Welcome to the Texas Quilt Museum. On behalf of Jane Boston, I am Deborah Bradley. I'm director here at the Texas Quilt Museum. Has anyone been here before? Anyone first time? Welcome. We're so glad to have you joining us tonight. And for those of you coming back to see us, welcome back. The Texas Quilt Museum is housed in a building that was constructed in 1893. Everything used in the construction of the building was taken from LaGrange or Fayette County, where we're seated. We have longleaf pine floors. Each one of those columns in Gallery 1 was carved from a longleaf pine tree. The bricks in Gallery 1 were baked outside, and the bricks in Galleries 2 and 3 were baked in a kiln. Now, it always functioned as some kind of a raw deal or a furniture store or something real. And in 2010, our founders, Carrie Rosenhan and Nancy Prentice, had the wonderful vision of creating the Texas Quilt Museum. Has anyone ever heard of the International Quilt Festival in Houston? Awesome. They are the founders of the International Quilt Festival in Houston. And that is how we get all of these beautiful quilts. We fall under the auspices of the International Quilt Festival. So from that, they restored this building. We are at 95% original integrity to the 1893 structure. And we received a restoration award because of it. In 2010, they got to work having it restored. And in 2011, we opened our doors. And since then, we have welcomed over 125,000 friends like you from all 50 states, all U.S. territories, and 68 countries in the world. Our exhibits change every 4 months. And in fact, this exhibit will end the end of April, and immediately we'll have a new one opening on April 30th, which will hang throughout the summer. It celebrates our America 250, which will have an American patriotic type exhibit known as My America, What It Means to Me. Also, there will be a presidential portraits, hooked rugs, 2-century-old cross-stitch soldiers, one is Union and one is Confederate, and then we'll also have antique quilt tops by Teresa Wong that are reimagined. So I welcome you to come back and join us for that. We also will have summer art camps and lots of other wonderful collaborations with other nonprofits like the Fayette County Community Theater. We ask that you please silence your phones if you haven't already done so. You're welcome to take photos. Just please don't use flash photography. And if you have any questions after the performance, all of us would be happy to talk with you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we hope you enjoy yourselves.
Well, I just want to echo Deborah's words. Thank you so much for being here. We are so lucky to be in this space. I'm Heather Bartholomew with Fayette County Community Theater, and we aspire to have 145,000 visitors. That's amazing. We decided to do this collaboration. I guess last year we did a small kind of a one-act play, and it was so fun and so well received that we just were like, oh, we've got to do another one this year. And so we came across this play, and I think it really just spoke to both of us, just women throughout history who have made an impact on the world. I encourage you to take a look at your programs, read the stories in there, and then if something sparks your interest, go ahead and look it up online. We've learned so much from each other's characters. Someone will come into rehearsal and say, oh my gosh, I just looked this up about my character, and did you know this? And so it's really been a fun way to kind of look at history. So yeah, without further ado, we hope that you enjoyed the show. A reminder about the cell phones. Yeah, thank you so much for coming.
your chest, like something's about to start.
Not outside of you, but in you.
Sometimes it starts with a no.
No, I won't be quiet.
No, I won't sit down.
No, I won't shrink to fit your comfort.
Other times, it's yes.
Yes, I see it differently.
Yes, I want more.
Yes, I will step forward even if no one's done it before.
It doesn't start with applause. It starts with doubt.
With fear.
With a question that won't leave you alone.
Can I do this?
Should I speak?
Will I fail?
And then,
Sometimes quietly, sometimes like a scream.
it comes.
The spark.
I see it. Now I know you think it's madness that a machine can do more than crunch numbers, but I swear to you, this analytical machine that Mr. Babbage has designed, well, he only sees a calculator, a clever abacus. But I see music, color, and language translated into patterns. It's like poetry. My father, the great Lord Byron, the poet, the storm. They called him mad, brilliant, untamable. He took one look at me when I was born. And he left. Divorced my mother and disappeared into myth. He wanted a son, not a girl, not me. My mother, she tried to scrub the Byron out of me. Refused a single line of his poetry in the house. She said, emotion is the enemy. Let mathematics steady you. She called it my treatment. My cure. As if numbers could tame the storm I inherited. But what she never understood, what neither of them understood, is that poetry and math are the same. Both a language, both chase beauty and precision, both ask the impossible question. What is the truth? And the truth is, I see it's a machine that can write poetry, store and carry it. One day. Not now, no, but one day. People will walk around with these machines in their pockets. They'll speak to them and these machines, they'll reply. They'll argue with them, imagine with them. They'll fall in love through them. And yes, there will be danger. Every new power comes with shadow, but we can shape this. Give it something beautiful to carry forward. I know they laugh at me. Say that I'm an unserious woman, writing fanciful delusions. All in the margins of a man's machine. shadows, but at the roots, Ada Lovelace. And I will say, who's laughing now?
Dearest Cass, I've been thinking about my wedding far more than I should admit. More clearly, more soberly than ever. Mrs. Harris Bigwiller. Can you even say it without wincing? He proposed, and I said yes. A Brussels lace gown over white satin, organdy veil, cornflowers and lilacs. You'd be there by my side, of course. Mother glowing, father proud. We'd have roasted duck, fritters, and cake. We'd string garlands from the rafters and hang them ourselves, just as we did when we were girls, remember? And then what? What happens next? I move to many down estates. I write in secret, if at all. He doesn't know, Cassandra. Not about the novels, not about my books. Elizabeth, not Marianne, or Emma. Waiting in the margins. What happens when he does? It would be a strange thing to have my books amputated from their authorship. What if he reads them? What if he reads them and sees nothing? No wit. What if he reads them and sees me? Sees too much. Sees the grandeur and design of the feminine world. What if he doesn't want me to be known? Not proper for a wife. Wife. Such a beautiful word that now seems poison tipped. I hadn't thought about it much before now, but now that is all I can see. My books, abandoned. My ambition, folded away like a bridal veil. My entire world of creations and wanderings left behind for a plain young man. I must tell him no. But better, much better, to mourn a wedding than to mourn a life. Well, that was until Mr. Smith's wagon nearly killed me. Now, it wasn't Mr. Smith's fault. We knew folks took their horses by that hill. But it was the only hill you could get any real speed. I was halfway down, flying head first when I saw it. Clydesdale. Massive. I saw its hooves. I saw the space in between them, and I thought, I can make it. And I did. In that moment, that split calculation where my whole life hung in the balance, taught me everything I know about flying. I've been thinking a lot about that. You remember the air derby of 29, Santa Monica to Cleveland? Of course you do. They told us to bring men like chaperones. There was nothing like it. All women, all engines roaring, all competitors. But we were sisters in the air. And then Marvel crashed over Arizona, and we cried. God, we cried. Some of the folks, the men, they wanted us to call off the whole race, but we stood firm. We said honoring her is what we did by flying, and we flew. I remember the Rockies coming up out of nowhere, like God himself had placed them there, like the earth needed a little embellishment. I saw those peaks. I looked at my plane and I thought, I can make it. I believe all of us women are made of something different, something strong. I believe that. I do. And that's what I told the ladies of the 99s. You're made of something different, better made. And sometimes we just need somebody to stand up and say it out loud, to remind us. Now I know the papers like to talk about me, say I'm the first, the only. But where would I be without Netta teaching me, or Poncho, or Gladys pushing me higher, faster, farther? No, I didn't get here alone. You see, when you're handed a great adventure, you don't refuse it. And life is an adventure. It's terrifying, tragic sometimes, but also tremendously beautiful. I remember I used to tell my sister, I want to see the whole world someday. And this moment right here, this is my chance. So I'm asking you one more time. Do you think I can make it?
Do I regret going too far? You ask that like it's a question about decency, about You think I went too far? I didn't go far enough. I wanted to stay longer. I wanted to see how deep it went. How many women they could crush behind those locked doors. You don't forget that place. The thick air, no ventilation, no food, too much medicine. And when the women started to drool and fade, they blamed them. They didn't treat madness, they manufactured it. They called me a stunt girl, not an investigative reporter, not a detective, just a girl pulling stunts to get attention. Is that what you think I was after? Attention? Here's what I was after. Truth, change, freedom for the women left behind when I got out. Because I got out. They called me brave, but I was lucky. I had an editor who believed in me, a name people recognized, a platform to speak from. Most women don't have that. You want to talk about going too far? Try circumnavigating the globe as a single woman in the 1800s. Try outrunning deadlines and seasickness and skepticism. Try walking back into rooms full of men who want to close the door on you. Again. I did all of it. And I do it again. Not for the fame. Not for the byline. For the women. Still inside. Still invisible. Still screaming. Still unheard. You don't get to ask me if I regret it. You get to ask me how to do it next. And I'll tell you, but only if you're willing to go even further than I did. Because that's the job of a reporter.
I always thought we'd have more time. Just one more morning with him. One more glance through the underbrush. He was the first to trust me, you know. David Brady. They said I was too soft by giving you a name instead of a number. But that made me sentimental, unscientific. But you had a name long before I did. I saw it in the way you peeled fruit for a younger male, and in the way you looked at me. They said to observe, record, stay at a distance. But I sat and watched and named David, Flo, Fifi, Goliath. Because I knew you weren't specimens. You're individuals with joy, with grief, with memory. Today I watched them grieve him. His brother pacing, blurry, still and silent. I don't know how to write that in a field notebook. I don't know how to tell the world what I see without breaking. You'd be proud, Jubilee. The little chimp that started it all. When Father gave you to me instead of a teddy bear, Mother's friends were horrified. Chimpanzees, they'll give her nightmares. But they didn't. They gave me a calling. And now David is gone. was never about degrees or lectures. It was always this silence, waiting, the rustling of leaves, the moment the wild world lets you in. So I'll keep going, I'll keep naming, and watching, and waiting. Because the only thing scarier than taking a risk is not taking one. Rest easy, David. I'll keep my promise, and I'll tell the world over, when we fail the wild, we fail ourselves.
I've been thinking about something. A question, really. What if Shakespeare had a sister? What if her name was Joan? What if she had the same wit, the same genius, the same gift of rhythm and revenge? But Joan would never be taught to read. She had no books, no room. She went mad eventually, buried in an unmarked grave. History calls her a what if. There are so many Joans, women unfairly silenced through the centuries. Nan Mozart, Anne Finch, women whose names never even make it to the margins. History is cruel to women. My brothers went to Cambridge, and I, as a girl, had to make do with my father's library. You see, they learned to debate, and I learned to listen through the walls. For I was born into their society, a patriarchy. And from what I can see, not much has changed. I could be bitter. Some days I am. But mostly, rather than complain about it, I decided to do something about it. We bought a press, right there in the dining room, between the tea and the cat. We published our own words. Freud's too, Catherine Mansfield, E.M. Foster, T.S. Eliot. We didn't wait for permission. And so I challenge you, everyone in this room, with a pulse and a voice and something to say. Live an unapologetic life, an authentic life, loud if need be, unruly, so that from this moment forward, we and the women that we write are no longer confined to society's limited expectations. I'm a woman with no filter and wildly unpopular opinions because they're from the brain of a woman. And I'll let you in on a little secret. For most of history, Anonymous was a woman. And so let me ask, of all the things that the so-called moral majority now deem inappropriate, with their book bans and their outlawed words, locked libraries, do you honestly believe that you can silence a thinking mind? Bolt the doors, board up the shelves. But the problem is, there's no gate, no lock, no bolt you can set on the freedom of a woman's mind. Women weren't absent from history because they lacked talent or brilliance. They were absent because silence was enforced. Speech was punished. And no one listened if they dared to speak. And so I dare you. Don't be a what if.
Who tells the truth? I have no choice but to stay. Stay and write. To whom it may concern. Too polite. What I needed to say is, stop killing us. Sign the truth. This is my home. And I've sat here and watched 3 of my friends lynched. Their only crime? Some whites couldn't withstand the competition. I saw their bodies. My stomach folded in on itself. So I wrote what no one else would. Exposed it like it was an overstayed potato salad at a church picnic. The next day, I stepped outside and the press building was on fire. They wanted silence, but I saw it for what it was, a war. So this is my sword. You think I don't hear them calling my name like a curse? But I'm not cursed. I am chosen. They say lynched men are criminals. Show me the crime. No one hangs a man for stealing. They hang him for succeeding while black. My hands are shaking. Not from being scared or worried or feared. No, from the weight of being the first to speak, to shout, to write loud enough that they try to burn my words. But they forgot one thing. You can burn paper, but not the truth. Fine. I'll go to Chicago, not to hide, but to print louder, to speak bolder. They think they're chasing me out? They're just fueling my fire. So go on, light your matches. I lit a fire of my own.
We were never the footnotes, never the side notes, never the smudged names on the bottom of the page.
We were the ink, the parchment, the pulse of the pen.
The first breath of the rebellion.
Second wind of America.
The spark that remembered how to burn.
Legacy? Then say her name.
All of them.
Those who signed in secret, who coded their truths in diaries, who taught it with their hands.
We are not done. This is not the end. This is the moment we reload.
They told me to say nothing. But last week I watched a woman with the voice of heaven be turned away because of the color of her skin. Constitution Hall, they said, was inappropriate for her to sing. I think if I say nothing, what am I? When I was a child, my mother called me Granny. It hurt deeply, but it taught me something. You cannot let the world decide your worth. You decide it. You live it. Franklin's mother tried to stop our marriage. She said I was too plain, improper, too outspoken. Well, when polio took Franklin's legs, mine was the voice he stood on. And when I found myself lonely in that house that bears every man's name but mine, I found Lorena. A journalist, a friend, a woman who loved me and gave me a sapphire that I wore to my husband's inauguration. Was it scandalous? Perhaps. learned to survive the scrutiny of men. J. Edgar Hoover had 3,000 pages on me. Not because I was dangerous, but because I was loud. Because I didn't stay in the drawing room and pour tea. I went to the factories, to the protests, to the colored schools they tried to hide from our view. And I wrote every day to document. I'm resigning from the Daughters of the American Revolution today. They want to bar Marian Anderson from singing in their hall? Fine. We'll let her sing the Lincoln Memorial, where justice echoes louder. Some will call me improper, unpatriotic, but I think that patriotism is asking more of your country than silence. And I think being First Lady means being first. To act, to speak, to say what needs to be said. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. Not because it's easy, because it is necessary.
Pretend to be calm. You never know who's watching, who's whispering. Mother chose this awful dress when I first arrived. She made it clear, you don't get to choose. I came as Sophie Frederica Augusta, a speck from a speck of a city, sent across a continent to marry a stranger and secure a future that was not my own. Smile more, she said. Speak only when asked. Show humility, but don't fawn. Mother, so skilled at withholding her love and calling it discipline. So I taught myself. I read. I retreated to the world of books, and I waited. And I impressed. So interesting that her greatest disappointment was chosen to be the girl to wed the heir of Russia. But I was warned. There are ears behind the walls, eyes behind the gates. The whispers have reached Peter now. He knows. Cousin Peter. So pale, so delicate. He avoided my eyes like a boy avoids his lessons. 1 year older, yet it was he who seemed the child. 2 young puppets, sent on great empires. He, grandson to Peter the Great, and I, the unloved girl, chosen to serve beside him. Our wedding night? He opened a wooden box and laid toy soldiers across the bed. He mimicked battles, cannons, war cries. But I had my own war to fight. I returned to my books. To me, Russia was a language to be learned, and I was fluent with it once. When I fell ill, they brought a Lutheran minister. No, I said, send me an Orthodox priest, a priest of the Russian people, of the Russian courts. And that moment, from that moment, it changed everything. Russia saw me, took me in their hearts. That was the day I became Catholic.
He moved through power like a child with a toy, making whatever reckless cares pleased him. To end our war with Prussia, to give back the land we bled to keep, to disband the army, to mock the throne he was gifted, not earned. It was clear I had not spent these years in study for nothing. I had made allies. The church, the nobles, the army. Dear Peter, he may play his games, but I have won the army's loyalty. No, I will not wear that dress. This, because it is they, the soldiers, who will decide. Peter may play his games, but I have won their loyalty, and I will march with them. And Peter will be sent aside like a child sent to bed. And I will build new cities, hospitals, schools. Schools for girls. Girls like me from forgotten corners of Europe. So that they may start new worlds of their own. And I will make it law that women may govern, may write, may rise. It is time. They will whisper. They will lie. They will call me tyrant, temptress, whore. Let them. Because I am Catherine, and they will call me great.
They should be ashamed to force a pharaoh to take refuge in her
underrated. It's so hard being a warrior when you're a man. But he got the crown and the war cry. I got footnotes if I was lucky. Let's change that. My father was chieftain, chief of the nations. We ruled the West Coast waters like they were our own breath. We traded, we protected, we didn't ask permission. I was born with the sea in my blood and a battle on my tongue. When I was 8, my father said I couldn't sail because of my long hair. So I cut it off. Nothing was going to keep me from doing what I was born to do. I was married once, then twice. Each man thought his title might eclipse mine, until the enemies came, and I was the one who led. When they killed my first husband, I led the counterattack. When they took my second love, I stormed the stronghold myself and spilled the blood of his murderers. But this blade was child's play compared to what came next. I sat across from Queen Elizabeth I. England was carving Ireland like a feast. But I faced her, woman to woman, and I didn't bow. I got my lands back, got my brother freed from her prison. She spoke Latin, so did I. And I made damn sure she remembered my name. They always thought it should have been my brother, but it was me who earned their loyalty, me who kept the clans alive. I've been erased, mocked, buried beneath every man's story. But I was the one who took the helm. I was the one who fought the wind. I was the one who ruled with no crown, but the sea. So the next time you speak of kings, speak of grace, and speak her name with salt in your mouth.
And you visit me now for what? your death, I became unstoppable. They said I had the mind and body of a weak and feeble woman, but I had the heart and the stomach of a king. And not just any king. The King of England. I have survived wars, plots, plagues. I transformed an illegitimate nothing into England's greatest ruler. And yet, I would give my kingdom, every acre, every crown jewel, for just a few more moments. Not as England's queen, but just Elizabeth.
Miss Lamar, they need you on set in 2 minutes.
Tell them they'll get me in 3, maybe 4. Usually takes time, and so does revolution. They want the star, the dress, the profile. Now where were they?
Miss Lamar, do you think beauty sleep actually works? Or were you just born looking like that?
Is that really a question? Don't you want to ask me something important? Like, is it true you invented a weapon to fight Nazis between takes of your last film? Because I did. Now sit tight, darling. I'll tell you all about it. About powder sets. It said no to this. Frequency hopping spread spectrum. It was a way to skip between the radio channels so that the Nazis couldn't jam our torpedoes. It was a weapon designed in secret, over dinner, and between takes. And they said no, not because it wouldn't work, but because I wore a gown to the meeting. They said, and I quote, "You could do more for the war efforts using your beauty." As if that was all I brought into the room. I mean, look at me. Go ahead. They all do it. But what they can't see is that brilliance doesn't wear lipstick. It doesn't sign autographs. Brilliance is just a scratch of graphite at midnight. The calculations that are scribbled on sacred cartons. And those ideas that won't stop knocking. This was supposed to save lives, but they'd rather save face. So I gave them what they wanted. A smile, a kiss, a showgirl on that war-bond stage. While they were clapping for my cheekbones, I kept patting. I filed it under frequency hopping, but it was forgotten by the Navy, like a bomb waiting for a detonation. So they may pin up my picture now. But sweetheart, they'll be paying me against 100 years. So you can't pray any of that, can you? I didn't think so. Would you be an all? And go tell them I'm ready for my close-up.
Tomorrow, they vote. 32,000 names. 32,000 women who dared to speak, even though nobody asked them to. And I keep thinking, what if it's not enough? What if they laugh again? I didn't come this far to be laughed at. I came to change the country. And if that makes me unpopular, fine. I've been called worse. Let me ask you something. What are 3 words that describe you? Think about it. Not what you wish, but what others say when your back is turned. I'll go first. Determined, relentless, passionate. They meant it as an insult. I took it as a mission statement. I should have started with an introduction. Kia ora, I'm Kate Shepherd. Yes, like the actress, or precious, but I'm not a household name. I'd rather be a household right. Do you ever feel invisible? Like your voice can't make it past the door? I did. And so did half the population. We couldn't vote. We couldn't keep our own children in a divorce. We couldn't own property. We weren't citizens. We were scenery. So I didn't just complain. I did something. I edited the White Ribbon, the first woman-run paper in New Zealand. I wrote pamphlets, heaps of them. My favorite? This one. 10 reasons why the women of New Zealand should vote. Simple, sharp, no fluff. Because it has not yet been proved that the intelligence of women is only equal to that of children, nor that their social status is on par with that of lunatics or convicts. What? I know, but it worked. So did number 6. Because the presence of women at the polling booth would have a refining and purifying effect. Honestly, I just wanted them to stop treating us like smoke needing to be cleared. I hand-delivered that paper to Parliament, unrolled it right there out on the chamber floor. It was taller than a man, heavy too, but that weight belonged to us, to all of us. And tomorrow, they vote. I don't know what they'll decide, but I know what I'll keep doing. Raising my voice, writing the truth, standing in the doorway until they let us in. I don't need to be a household name. I need to be a household right.
One more day until your TED Talk. 47 rewrites. No pressure, right? Okay, here we go. Since the dawn of time, humanity has looked out at the stars. No. To Carl Sagan. Too much cosplay. You're a scientist, Jill Tarter. Give them the science. No more notes. Just get up there on the stage and tell them why this matters. Why search for extraterrestrial intelligence? People question it, they mock it. Congress shot down funding within 30 seconds. Not worth taxpayers' dollars. But you don't spend your life listening to signals from the stars just to quit. So, it started on a beach in Florida. A little girl holding her father's hand, wondering, wonder if someone else is out there doing this. And then he squeezed my hand, proud. At that moment, that curiosity, that connection paved the path. And it eventually became more than wondering. It became belonging with, belonging to the universe. Oh, Dad, I wish you were here with me. dream big. So I did. He said, hard work will get you anywhere. And it did. I secured a scholarship with Procter & Gamble. But getting in was just the first hurdle. The real shock, day one, first engineering course. 300 students, one woman, me. Fine, I'll outwork them all. Professor ignored me. Lab partners doubted me. Even the campus wasn't built for me. There was no women's room in the engineering department. So I had to go outside the building just to pee. But the final blow, Procter & Gamble found out I was going to be married. Seems a woman can't have a husband and a future in science. They pulled my scholarship. Being a woman has never stopped me. But as a scientist, being asked to prove yourself before any results is exactly why I'm standing up here in front of you today. Because at the SETI Institute, we do the same thing. We ask you to believe before there's proof. We send signals out into the unknown, hoping someone will hear us. Everything I have studied says there is life out there. But I still can't prove it. Yet. All those radio telescopes are not waiting for a symphony. Just a clear signal. A whisper from the cosmos will change everything. It's not about aliens, it's about humanity, how we see ourselves. To stand up, to look out, and be reminded that here on this tiny planet, how deeply we are connected, how similar we really are, and most importantly, no matter where you are, no matter who you've lost, you are never really alone. You were right, Dad. The scariest opportunities are always worth seizing. Maybe, just maybe someone out there is listening back. Let's send it. Signal complete. Shoot, that was good. I think I'll go write that down.
We've walked the gauntlet of genius, of grief, of rebellion, glory.
You've seen the wounds, hidden in corsets, heard the drums of war in laboratories, felt the heat of the fires they started.
We became the flame.
We became the movement.
We became what's next,
Because a story is not history.
until someone chooses to remember it.
A revolution isn't real.
Until someone chooses to continue it.
And justice isn't justice.
Until everyone is free.
So write the next chapter.
Paint the next portrait.
Vote the next law.
Name the next girl.
After a woman who wouldn't break.
Do something they can't